Hello, I'm Dan Driscoll and welcome to Project Ethereal. I'll be guiding you through a couple slides to show you what our team is all about. The goal of our project is to create an experience that naturally compels players to fight in a way that answers the question this might have been how a soldier in medieval times, in ancient times, fought with swords and shields and spears these days. Here, this is a demonstration of our current build of our first level. This is the arena, and these players actually are the knights of our opposing sides, the Ethereals and the Rebels, and coming together across this narrow pass and fighting. This is basically a stable build where we can host 5-on-5, and where we have the sword and shield mechanics somewhat working. We have a lot of bugs to work out, as any software in progress I'm sure does, but we're trying to also introduce the spear in this latest build, and that's what our goal of this whole next week is to introduce the spear mechanic in addition to the sword and shield. Our guiding themes for this entire project are to explore as much realism as possible, to get it gritty, get it in your face, because we think that's going to add to the fun, but also make sure that it's accessible and that you can approach it and it doesn't get in the way. It's not clunky and hard to use. First and foremost, this whole entire project though is guided by a story and a design document that was created last summer. It has many more mechanics and characters and features that we will not be able to do in the course of this semester, and which is why we would like to apply for the IGN's competition. It would allow us a chance to actually access some of that story, get it out there, basically enrich the environment that we're going to be playing in. Our target audience are those who like medieval combat and medieval history, who also like the high-action gameplay of, say, Counter-Strike, where we've actually taken a lot of inspiration. We started this whole process after creating the design document back in June. We started by joining the Society of Creative Anachronism, which happens to be north of Pittsburgh, and holds a war called the Pensic War every year, where we fought and actually competed in metal suits of armor with these wooden sticks, and they hosted something on the order of 12,000 people, all camped out in this campground, and that's a picture of us right there. And I'll show you a video of the Pensic War and some of the research we got from our shield camera right now. We also did a lot of research with games. We wanted to capture some of what others had done right or wrong, and one thing we found in Counter-Strike was their round-based tactical team play evoked natural just behaviors in the players to be tactical, even though there wasn't any actual team leadership going on. People would still take, corridors. They would go and try and cover all approaches, and they would move down hallways covering each other. And ultimately, if you're the one guy running and gunning, more times than not, you would be killed. Those are the same kind of emergent behaviors we're shooting for, by only in a formation setting rather than in a tactical shooter. Here are some of the milestones that we've sought to hit in our academic progress. As this is an academic project, we've already passed our quarters presentation a couple weeks ago, and actually this week is our halves presentation, where we have introduced the spearmen, and we have groups on groups. We've tested up to 5-on-5, as I said, and we're introducing our second level, which is a river crossing level. Finally, we would like to, by the end of this semester, which for us will end on 12 December, we want to put two phalanxes across from each other and get people to naturally fight that way at a castle siege kind of scenario, and to have our own hosted server. This is, of course, all if we did not have the IGN's approval in in this competition. This was our original milestones, and this is still what we're shooting for as far as the academic calendar goes. Our lead artist is a inspiration for all of us. He's created from the beginning a concept to creation of all of our characters and models. He also has done a series of concept work for our Ethereal, which is basically our ultimate bad guy. He is a character who has been deformed by his powers and set in an alternate future universe. There's a lot to this whole story that we have written up, and basically things changed from about 1200 AD on to now, and we're set in present day that is stuck in a medieval future. But and that's kind of the setting for our entire backstory. But basically, the Ethereal is the bad guy, and G has pretty much helped concepting this whole universe, and we hope to provide him the ability to continue doing so. Right now we are set for three levels to design, mostly focusing on open spaces with some potentially hazardous crossing points to allow for use of the grouping mechanic that I'll go over next. But basically we have the arena, we have the river crossing, and we have a castle siege level, which is in pre-production right now. Our gameplay focuses on two classes, the knight and the commoner, and the knight obviously being more heavily armored but slower, and the commoner being faster, more nimble but a little weaker. And then there are two weapons, sword and shield, or spear. In the sword and shield mechanic, we have inspiration from our Pensic War, where the actual video footage and Foley effects that we got with our actual suits of armor we own, and also some prototyping levels, has resulted in finally our knight as it stands now. He has 4 jab attacks and 2 heavy hitting attacks, and then also a shield bash. Whoa. The spear focuses, however, on long range combat instead of the short range of the knight. He actually is able to be engaged with a target, focusing in on him, and then picking out weak points in the armor to stab at long range. Well, we aim to, for the rest of the semester, from now to December, is to get the spear and the swords to work together in a phalanx using in-game mechanics, whether it be, right now we're using a gravity well, or whether it be fixed positions, but basically trying to form a shield wall with spears over top that can move together as a unit. Obviously they're slower that way, but they're able to, say, pass a narrow section of ground in this style and be much more effective and unstoppable than a group of people that are, in ones and twos trying to attack. So this is kind of the key of what we're trying to go for that makes this game different. And that's Ethereal Medieval Combat Simulation. Thanks for listening, and I appreciate your consideration on this competition. Thank you. Bye.